Ladies and gentlemen, the show we've all been waiting for, Paranormal Buzz Radio is proud to present REP Paranormal and Friends with your hosts, Kim Purvis and Allison Robinson. Live every Thursday night on Spreaker, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. Be sure to check out their Facebook page, REP Paranormal Busters.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast by the host or the guest do not necessarily reflect the views of Paranormal Buzz Radio or its sponsors. Use of any material produced by Paranormal Buzz Radio without express written consent is strictly prohibited. For information on everything Paranormal Buzz Radio has to offer, visit our website, paranormalbuzzradio.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Listener discretion is advised.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to another night of REP Paranormal and Friends. We have a special guest tonight. She's a psychic medium, demon seer, animal communicator, international author, paranormal investigator, television and radio personality, and also the founder of Ghosts and Girls Paranormal. You've got several books out, which are Medium's Guide to the Paranormal, Dark Side of the Paranormal, Paranormal Encounters, books 1 and 2, Out of Time, Demon Seekers, and The Journey Begins. And then you have a new book coming out also called Demon Seer Awareness, correct? So welcome, June Lundgren. I didn't give her name, June Lundgren. So welcome. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you've got a long list of things here that you do. Busy, busy, busy.
Always busy.
So why don't you give us a little bit of background on yourself? How did you know that you were a psychic? Like, how did that come about?
Well, I've always been psychic. I was dropped off at my grandparents, when I was a couple days old, and I was dumped there, and my mother hit the road. And my grandmother's a medium, and she knew right away that I had abilities because the animals would come and they'd sit under my crib and they'd gather around, and she saw an increase of, activity when it came to elementals and angels and stuff like that. So she figured, she had better take me under her wing and train me. So I lived with them for the first 5, almost 6 years. And she taught me everything that she knew, but she knew that what I could do would go way beyond her. So I really didn't utilize my abilities for quite some time because my mother was like bipolar, and she would beat me every time I used them. So I learned to hide them. So it's like when I joined the military when I was 17 years old and left for the military, and I would, word of mouth went around, and I helped a lot of people that way, rather than I never advertised it. It just people just happened to find me. And then I got out in 81 and came home, and that's before the internet.
Yeah.
So word of mouth, people would come and give me a call and say, "Can you help? Can you help?" And I wasn't removing demons at that time. I was just like, and I could see them, understand them, and I saw them in their true form, which is different than most people. Most people see them as they wish you to see them. They project an image into your mind, and that's how you see them. but they can't do that with me. And then I had met my husband and was taking, I had owned 2 motorcycles at the time, and I was taking one out to him to teach him how to ride. And a woman ran a red light and hit me on my bike. And I was clinically dead for 2 minutes. And that's when I went to the other side. And Michael was there, my grandparents. And Michael said, you needed to come. You needed to come to understand who and what you are and to start doing what you're supposed to be doing for God. And so he touched my forehead, and I relived all of my lives back to the soul. And he says, take a look at yourself. And I no longer looked like me. I was about 7 feet tall. I had, dark auburn hair that went every direction, and blue-green eyes and wings. And he says, this is who you are. You're Ariel, the archangel. You were sent back to relive human lives until you learn to have compassion for mankind. Oh, wow. And I'm like, oh, good. Just what I need. It's like he said, do you ever wonder why you can see demons and hear them and understand what they're saying? I'm like, no, I just thought it was the way it was.
Yeah, that was my next question. I was going to ask you, like, how were you chosen to be able to see these demons?
Because of Ariel being inside of me. And Michael says, you need to learn to communicate with her. You need to be able to hear her thoughts. You need to be able to, talk to her and understand. So he did what he called a merge. And so I can hear what she hears. I can see what she sees. And we have conversations telepathically. So, and people say that, for years I was removing demons until one day somebody said to me, you do know that you have, when she comes forward, you have wings and your eyes turn white and your voice and your face changes. I'm like, no, I'm a little busy at the time. Don't have a mirror. I'm a little busy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh,
but,
wow.
I wondered why for years people stared at me weird. Nobody ever said anything. It's like, okay, fine, whatever. I don't care. I do what I do, and that's it.
Oh my goodness. Wow. That is amazing. So, okay. So for some of our listeners that may not know, what is a demon seer and what is the difference between a demon seer and a demonologist?
A demonologist is someone who studies demons. Well, 9 times out of 10, well, what am I saying? 99.9% of the time, they've never seen one, not really seen one. And some of them have never encountered one. But it's like you'll get people that say they're occult specialists and specializing in demons, but they've never had an encounter. So, it's like, how can you specialize when you've never seen one or encountered one? I don't get that, And so a demon seer, because when I started removing demons, I told my grandma, she's been dead since 79. I said, I don't want to be called a demonologist. I don't like the connotations that go along with it.
Right.
And she says, well, just call yourself what we do in the old country. My grandma's Irish. Said, you're a demon seer. Says you can see them, you can hear them, you can understand because they speak in Aramaic, and you can remove them. So and you can kill them. So it's like demon seer. So I'm like, okay, that sounds better than demonologist.
Yeah, it does. Okay, so how do you go about removing a demon?
Well, a lot of times, 9 times out of 10, someone will send me an email, say, hey, I'm having problems. And I'm like, okay, send me a picture. Once I get the picture of the individual or the place or the object, I know exactly what's there. I can see it, and telepathically, I can see it in my mind. And I know how it came to be there. I know what its name is. I know everything about it. I can actually get into the demon's mind and find out what's going on. And so once I do that, I warn it, you need to leave. If you do not leave, I will kill you, literally. And of course, most of them Demons are a lot like humans. They look at the outside. They don't look any deeper than the surface.
Mm-hmm.
So they have no idea what's coming for them until Ariel comes forward. And then it's like, oh my God, let me out of here. Too late. Too late. So she uses white light swords to kill them. And one of the things I learned when I was on the other side was that in the white light realm, as well as the dark realm,
Mm-hmm.
thought becomes reality. And it's the intention behind the thought that gives it power.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can focus your mind, and she comes forward, and I see her creating the swords, and it just takes a split second, and then I see her fighting them.
Mm-hmm.
They have dark swords, and once she gets to that point, she disarms them and kills them. She lets them know, you brought this on yourself. If you had stayed where you're supposed to be, then this would not have happened. But, can't do that.
Gosh, I mean, I wouldn't even know where to begin with that. I guess I didn't even really know, you just hear about demonologists. You don't really hear about the demon seers and who actually, removes them and things like that. So it's interesting to hear this part of it. And then also, okay, so since you can see them telepathically, is that how you know that they really do have an issue with a demonic presence instead of just a grumpy old spirit?
Yeah. Every now and then I got called in for children's theater in Vancouver, where they were saying, oh, there's a shadow person here. It's a 7-foot shadow person.
Mm-hmm.
And, we need you, it's scaring the kids. We need you to remove it. And I'm like, okay. So I went up to the theater, and the minute I got there, I'm like, really? Ghosts can make you see them as they wish to be perceived as well.
Uh-huh.
So this guy projected himself as a 7-foot tall shadow person.
Oh.
But in reality, he was a short, fat, balding guy who never got respect in life. And so he was darn sure going to get respect in death. So,
yeah, exactly.
So there you go. And I was like, really? Because they can't fool me, because I see beyond. What they try to put something in my brain. I'm like, don't even go there with me.
Yeah.
It's not, you can't do it. So don't bother.
Oh gosh. This sounds kind of like meeting somebody on the internet. They try to perceive themselves.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's like a dating site. It's like, I'm 6 foot tall, I'm handsome. Yeah. You get there and it's like, oh my God, really?
Exactly.
Yeah, kind of like that. Sometimes it is. And then you'll get people who summon demons, and they need help because they summoned them, got them, don't know what to do with them. Mm-hmm. Because a demon will turn on you in a heartbeat. You can summon it all you want, and people think, I'm going to summon it, I'll have control over it, it'll do what I say. Mm-hmm. Wrong. Nope. Every time. Mm-hmm. They do what they want to do, and you're just meat on the plate. Mm-hmm. You're nothing. They use that individual to get into the physical realm. And once they do, then they start doing what demons do, causing problems. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then, I have to pick up the pieces. I had one girl I removed a demon from, and I'm like, the minute I get to the location, I knew she summoned it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, she summoned it, but it was by accident. She didn't really know what she was doing. Uh-huh. She didn't know how she did it. And I told her, I said, you summoned this thing. I said, if you didn't have children, I would turn around and leave it with you.
Yeah.
I said, but you have children. I said, I'll take it away. I'll remove it. So I did the removal, and my partner, Wendy, she's the other half of Ghosts and Girls. And she's like, I got this text from that woman. You remember that woman? I'm like, yeah. So she wants to know if you'll teach her how to summon demons. I'm like, what? What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? I kill demons. Yeah. I don't summon them.
Why would she want to summon one anyways?
Oh my God. I have, since then, she has sent, so because she's doing this, she gets, she's quote unquote working with people to help them. And because she has demons around her, the people that are not protected and go around her end up with attachments.
Oh, no.
And, one was a 12-year-old boy, and the woman's like, we were referred by so-and-so. And I'm like, oh, my God, not again.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. And I told her, I told the woman, I said, don't do it. I said, because you'll be sorry if you do it again.
Yeah.
And I said, because one of these times, I'm going to take that demon and I'm going to turn around and I'm going to attach it to you and see how you like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's not right. It's like,
No.
I've had that where I've been contacted with people. I had a client in Chicago that had one of his workers went to a bruja and had it summon a demon and attach it to the guy because, he laid her off because he had no work and she took offense to it. And so I said, just send me a picture of the location and I'll track it back. So he sent me his location of the work, and I can like follow the yellow brick road right back to the person that attached it. And I took it by the throat and I said, you see this person that summoned you? I said, you're going to attach yourself to it for a while, to that person for a while. We'll see how he likes it. I let that happen for about 6 months. Then I finally removed it.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. Now you know how it feels. Don't do it.
Exactly. I wonder how many of those people are doing this to, like, maybe get attention or seeking,
Well, a lot of people, it's like the thrill of it.
Yeah.
The challenge of it, the like, look what I can do type of situation, or they just do it because they get caught up in, a coven or something like that. That's, dark arts. And then once they get it, they don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
It's like, if you hadn't summoned it in the first place, you wouldn't have this issue.
Exactly.
It's like, I have no sympathy for that. None whatsoever.
No, I wouldn't either. I'd just be like, you deal with it. I'm not, you did this all on your own because you wanted to do it. Have at it.
Yeah, you wanted to you wanted to know what it was like to have a demon working with you. I'm like, okay, they'll be working against you.
Yeah.
Give it a second or two and they'll turn around. They'll turn on you. They always do.
Let's see here. We had Matt said hi, and Darren says welcome back to Paranormal Buzz Radio.
Yeah. I've been here before. Thank you.
Let's see here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your book and what it's going to kind of entail, and when is it coming out?
I wrote the book and finished it about 8 months ago.
Okay.
And then I realized what I've done is I've written the book from a perspective that people that know about the paranormal would be able to read the book and get the information out of it. But people that didn't know anything about the paranormal would be lost. And I thought, that's not really what I want. I want it to be for those who maybe have had an experience or were curious about, or, have had an attachment or have an active attachment and don't know what to do. As my son says, I dumbed it down, put it more in layman terms. But what it is it's called Demon Seer Awakening. It's the first of 4 volumes. And what it does is it talks about how the negatives work in the world today, what they're behind, how they work, what their MO is, how they infiltrate, the physical world, and what they do when they're here and why they're here. And I have a couple of really good chapters. One of them is on where to find help, and the other one's on protection. The where to find help one is a very good one. it's got links to Keith Johnson and his brother, demonologist. They said, put our information in there so we can help. And the Archbishop of the Order of St. Michael of Exorcists out of LA, he's wanted to be in the book, so I put him in the book as well. And Father Bob Bailey and a few others that I know, a nun that's working against the dark. So there are several places in there for people to seek help, because I'm on the West Coast, but a lot of these people are on the East Coast, and they can help. I want people to be able to get help and to empower people. That's why I wrote the one on protection. What works, what doesn't work, and why they don't work and why they do work. And, some of the myths behind it, is it because people are, I had most of the people that come to me are people that have been suffering with an attachment or under attack for years, and they've never been able to find help. And this way, they find me eventually, but it's like I tell them, I said, it's your guides and guardians that eventually will be able, because they're not strong enough to fight the demons, they will get you where you need to go to connect with me. Either it's by hearing a podcast, coming across my name on the web or something like that. They work in the backgrounds, unbeknownst to the demons, to try to get you to where you need to go to get help. But the second one, the other book that will be released is the second in the Demon Seeker series. It's called Demon Seekers into Darkness. And it takes place, the climax of it takes place at Stonehenge, which I've visited a few times. I thought this would be an awesome place for the climax of the book. Good versus bad type of thing. Now, the series is based on, there are 8 archangels in the world today that are reborn into physical form. I'm one of them, and I know where all of them are but one. And I've been in communication with all of them. And so each book represents a different archangel and what they're doing, where they are, what they're doing, because not all of them have the awareness. They know they can do things, but they don't know why they can do things, or they need help to improve their abilities. And that's where I come in to help them, to make them aware of, this is like Jacques in France. He's like, I've always known I've been able to do this stuff, but I never knew why. I said, this is why, this is what you need to do to get, bring him forward and do what you have to do. And so that's, each one of the books is about a different demon seer, archangel that's been in the world. Not all of them are demon seers. There's only one other one that's a demon seer. The one in Scotland, he's Archangel Hanel, and he's a demon seer.
Oh wow, that is just.
We talk all the time.
Yeah. You keep in touch. Now, did you have a date then for that book?
I've got it. The chapters all complete, all rewritten. So I'm trying to get it put back together in the right order. And I had someone that was going to read it from a layman's point of view and make sure that that it was understandable, that it flowed right, and I've got a glossary in it, for the terms and stuff. But she's 89 years old. And she takes her time. She was an editor for years, so it's like you can't move her fast.
Right? No, yeah, I doubt you can.
She's like, yeah, I'll do it. I'd be very interested. I'm like, okay. Then I have somebody that I did a reading for in Australia. She's like, I really want to help you with this. I said, okay, I'll send you a couple of chapters. I said, you read it over and let me, make changes or whatever, see what suggestions are. So I hope it's going to be out. I have to go to England in June for a couple of weeks. So I'm hoping to have it out by the end of summer.
Okay. Very
Both
nice.
books. out by the end of summer. So
Now, will those be available like on your website or through Amazon or just kind of?
Amazon, yeah, through Amazon and Ingram Books,
Okay.
that sort of thing. Anywhere you can buy books, you'll find them.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, we had Beth pop in here, so she was just asking if you had a date yet because she's read a lot of your books, so she was kind of interested in when the new ones were coming out. So
Yeah, I'm hoping to the end of the summer.
okay.
Like I said, I have to take another trip to England. I got to go for a wedding. My friend over there, her son is a paratrooper, and he's getting married in June. So
Oh wow, nice.
it was supposed to be last June, but guess
Well,
what
yeah.
happened?
Guess what
COVID.
happened? Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see here. I'm just writing down questions from chat here. We have a lot of questions coming through from some of our listeners, so I'm gonna go through here and kind of get through some of those here.
It's like, no, I've never claimed to be normal.
I don't know if any of us are normal. I know I'm not normal either. Maybe not like you.
But I put my pants on the same way everybody else
does. That's right. Yep, exactly. Yep. Exactly. All right, let's see here. Okay, so the first question here, if I can read my chicken scribbles, is Darren wants to know what it's like to fight demons on a daily basis.
I don't do it every day. Maybe 5 or 6 a week. Yeah, I usually save it for like my days off, which are Wednesdays. As I'm still working as a nurse. I work 9-10 hour shifts.
Yeah.
But I honestly, I've been doing it for so long that it's become like second nature. I don't even, every now and then I'll have one pop up. I was coming out of work a couple of years ago, and of course I work right in front of a graveyard. Of course, why not? Yeah. So I'm going out to my car, and it's dark. It was like October, and here's this demon standing at the end of the block. Between the road and where my office is. I'm like standing down there, I'm like, what is this, high noon? For God's sakes, what's your problem? Leave me alone. He's like, no, and I'm like, you'll be sorry if you don't. He thought better of it and left. And I'm like, yeah, you better, because I'm not in any mood for it. But I'm so used to doing it. I really don't pay that much attention. I'm empathic, but I shut that down long ago, because you can't pick up on the emotions of your clients when there's a demon present. Mm-hmm. Because if you do, that makes you weak.
Yeah.
And if you're picking up on their emotions, their fear and stuff, they'll transfer that and make them a target. And that's not what I want to do. So I shut it down years ago, because, it's an interesting thing. That's why Wendy, my partner in Ghosts and Girls, she's more the diplomatic kind. She's an empath. And, when Ariel comes out, when I get to a location and Ariel comes out, it's like, that's it. She's on. She knows exactly where it is, and she heads straight for it, straight for the demon. No questions answered, nothing. Mm-hmm. So Wendy is kind of like the one behind me answering all the questions. Like, it's okay. This is what she does. This is how she does it. That sort of thing. It's like, because, I learned a long time ago, Ariel has she has attitude. She has bad attitude. Yeah. And so if I let her rule, I would have attitude a million times wider than anything. She's like, she has no patience for humans that do stupid things like conjuring demons and stuff like that, but she has no patience for humans. So even though she does have even though she has more sympathy than she had before, she has learned compassion. It's hard for her when there's a demon present. When there's a demon present, everything else, she has like a horse with blinders on. Mm-hmm. Everything else doesn't exist. It's only the demon. So you go in, you deal with the demon telepathically, And then, once it's done, then I can talk to them and tell them what I saw, how it got there, why it's there, and how I killed it. So there you go.
Awesome. That's awesome. So are demons, what's the word I'm looking for? I know what I want to say, but I can't spit it out. It's like one of those things where it's just like, you get it in your head and you just can't spit it out.
Done this.
This is daily for me, like every time. But are they more common than what we think? Like,
yes, they're more prevalent. In 2013, I was talking to God, and He says, "I wanted to warn you." He says, "Things are starting to change. The dark is trying to push back the light. Things are going to happen." This was in like April. He says, by the fall, things are going to happen. You'll see more increase in paranormal activity. You'll see an increase in violence, mental illness. He says it's just something that's coming, And sure enough, right after that, where the Connecticut school shooting happened. And, the activity ramped up. I was doing like 20 demons every 2 weeks. It was just like ridiculous. It was just, I've been so busy that I do 100 a month. It's like, it's insane. But in January 25th, 2018, edition of Newsweek, the Vatican came out and said, "Listen, we're training more exorcists than ever before in our history." Just there's been a substantial increase in possessions. I'm like, really? You're a little late to the party. I could have told you that back in 2015. But the Vatican never says anything. So for them to break their silence, it has to be bad.
Bad, yeah. I got chills just now. I don't know why, but I did. I got chills. Bad.
Yeah, that's why a little time after that, I get this friend request from Archbishop Fael, and he's like, "I'd like to connect with you. We have something in common." I'm like, "Yeah, you're of the order of Michael the Exorcist, And Michael started laughing. I'm like, "Gee, thanks, Michael." Really? He's like, "Well, I thought it was appropriate." I'm like, "Good for you." He's got a warped sense of humor, darn it.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
He does. So does Gabe and Raphael.
I think it was, I can't remember if it was when we had Michael Terzi on. Maybe he talked about him. I think he talked about him and his personality when he was talking to us, which was kind of interesting.
Yeah, he comes with, every time Ariel's reborn into the physical world, he always is there, always in constant contact with her because they're soulmates. Michael and Ariel are soulmates. And, people ask me, well, were demons always demons? I'm like, no, they weren't. They were light beings at one time. But the problem is they went against God. They said, a lot of the souls said, we want to be human, we want to be physical again. We want to have children. We want to know love. We'd like to be physical again. And the followers of Lucifer said, no way, not happening. We don't want it. We don't be subject to death, disease, pain, growing old. And that's what started the whole war. And when it ended, Michael disarmed Lucifer and Ariel disarmed his son. And God said, I'm going to give you exactly what you want. You'll never be able to take on physical form again. And then he opened up a rift into a dark realm and shoot him in there. And that's where they've been since. At first, they were good with it. They're like, we don't want to do it anyway. But then the centuries, they've grown resentful and seeking revenge and angry, and because they're regulated to the dark. So it's like, that's the way it goes. But another thing people don't understand is there's a hierarchy in the dark realm as well as the light. Lucifer has respect for the archangels, the Legion of Light, which is comprised of Michael, Raphael, Ariel, and Gabriel. And there is that respect there. Like it'd be like one sniper against another. I was talking to my friend in Scotland who has Hanel inside of him.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, I asked, because Lucifer and Hanel were best friends before the war. And so Lucifer still considered him his best friend, no matter what. Didn't matter that he fought for the light. It didn't matter to Lucifer. And so he was over, he goes, Lucifer dropped by today to watch a movie with me. I'm like, really? I said, how odd. He says, yeah, that's what I thought too. He says, I asked him what he thought of anti-aerial. He gives me a hard time. And he says, you want to hear what he said? And I said, yeah, I can imagine. And he's like, his words are respect the assassin.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, I said, yeah, he better respect her because she'll take him out.
Oh,
We don't have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But there is, like I said, there is that respect there, and
Mm-hmm.
and they won't cross the line,
Mm-hmm.
But you can't. That doesn't mean the old ones are like that. The old demons, the young ones, the lesser demons, they're like hormonal teenagers gone wild. They just have no respect. They have no respect for anybody or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So they barely have any respect for the old ones, the old demons, let alone Lucifer. But they run rampant. Those are the ones you're more likely to find in the physical world. The old ones rarely come down here because we're not worth it.
Right.
Although they do visit occasionally,
Mm-hmm.
as Zach Baggins found out to his detriment. It's like it was the old demon that took his sight in the demon house.
Uh-huh.
And when I did the show with him, I told him off camera, I said, this is the same demon that took your sight. He's the one who's come. He has a message for you.
Uh-huh.
What's the message? I said, I don't know yet. I said, you have to meet him, and then I'll give you his message.
Uh-huh.
He did not like that. I told him, I said, it's not up to me. I said, I've got him chained in the corner. I said, he'll stay there. He says, will my film crew and I be safe? I said, yeah, as long as I'm there, they'll be safe.
Yeah.
He did not like, he wanted to see what I saw. And I told him, I said, you don't want to see what I saw.
Yeah.
And he held my hand and he's like, it's like, it was bad. Cause he said at first it was beautiful. That's the part you don't see on film is like, first it was beautiful. There was all this white light.
Mm-hmm.
I said, that's the angelic part of Ariel. He said, and then it's like a curtain came down and I saw it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. And that's when he ripped his hand out of mine.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, welcome to my world.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. Oh my gosh.
We were over in another section and Billy Tully was my camera guy. And he's like, what is that? I'm like, what do you mean? He says, that growling in my ear.
Uh-huh.
I said, just a demon. Don't worry about it.
Oh gosh.
He's like, I don't want to hear it. I'm like, he's talking to you. I said, you just can't understand what he's saying. That's all.
Uh-huh. Oh my gosh. That's insane. Okay. We've got a few more questions here. Actually, holy cow, we have quite a few. Another question from our listeners is, what is the benefit of being able to deal with demons?
It's no benefit for me, but but Ariel gets off on it. She likes it. That's her thing. She loves it. That's her job, and she loves doing it, and it helps mankind. It helps the people. That's the benefit, is it helps the people. I've had people ask me, well, how much do you charge? And I said, I don't charge anything. I said, this is God's work. I said, what I do ask in return is for you to help someone else who has an issue. Just pass it on. Pass on the good. That's the benefit.
Okay, let's see here. Next question is, how many different classifications are there of demons?
There are several. There are, if you get my book, The Dark Side of the Paranormal, it talks about the different demon types and what their abilities are, what their weaknesses are. They're basically, it rolls down to the old demons, and then the lesser demons, which are the younger ones. The minions, which are the creepy crawly dudes that turn themselves into all kind of weird things. Mm-hmm. And then there's the shadow people. There's incubus, succubus. And then there are the wild cards. We have some, people don't understand that demons evolve
Mm-hmm.
just as people evolve, and the angelic people evolve. And I've seen some pretty weird ones lately. The evolution is like going in the wrong direction.
Oh gosh.
I've seen a couple that if they were alive, I'd say they were insane,
Mm-hmm.
mental illness. I'm like, really? You can always tell because demons have certain MOs. They work in a certain way. It's always the same. They have certain priorities, certain parameters, and you'll find ones that don't conform, that don't fit, the normal sequence of events, the normal reactions, the normal behavior. And I'm looking at the first one I came across. I'm like, really? You're crazy. Literally, you're crazy. It didn't conform to anything. If he was a person, I'd take too much inbreeding. Kind of like Henry VIII when I met him at Hampton Court. I'm like, you're uglier and fatter than your pictures. He's like, he called me a witch, and I said, you're uglier and fatter than your pictures. Bite me.
Oh,
he didn't like that. He slammed the door. I was like, not my problem.
Yeah. Let's see here. Another question here is, what is the most notable place you have dealt with a demon that people may not have heard about?
There's private homes. I've been to The Rock. I removed a demon back in 2017 from the most haunted location in all of England. It was called The Cage. It was a medieval women's prison for witches.
Oh.
And I was over there. It was my first trip to England. Me and my son went. And my friend calls me from Florida and says, give me a call. I said, I can. I'm in the UK. And she's like, oh, you're over there. Maybe you can help this woman. And she gave I said, well, send me your name. I'll see what I can do. And so she gave me her name. Her name was Vanessa Mitchell. And so I sent her a message from Facebook and then went out to the Tower of London to have some fun. And then I got back, and this woman, she contacted me, says, I normally don't do this, but something compelled me to respond to you. And I said, well, just send me a picture of the location. I said, it's too far away. I said, I got to get on the treadmill. So just send it to me and I'll do it while I'm on the treadmill. Mm-hmm. So she sent it to me, and she called me back. She said, did you do it? I said, yeah, because she doesn't live at the location. She didn't live at the location at that time. And I said, well, she says, I have an American psychic, a famous American psychic coming over, and he wants to do a walkthrough, and he doesn't do negative entities. I said, well, it's Chris Fleming. Mm-hmm. And I said, just tell him everything's gone, so not to worry about it. He can walk through without any problems. Sure enough, she called me back the next day and said, he said there was nothing left. I'm like, yeah, I do good work. Come on. But that one is one that they know if you're in England, you know about, but if you're in America, you would have never known about.
Yeah. About that, yeah.
Yeah.
Nope. No idea about that place. Never knew that there was a place over there for a women's prison for witches. Didn't know that at all.
Yeah. Yeah. They used to hang them. They didn't burn them over there. They hung them.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. There was the hanging tree a couple blocks away.
Oh, wow. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
All right. Darren wants to know if you have a bucket list.
A bucket list. Let's see. I'd like to go to the castle. I'd like to go to what's-his-face's castle, Dracula's castle. That'd be cool. Mm-hmm. I'd like to go over there, just see what's there, see what the energy's like over there. Mm-hmm. And I've been to Ireland, and I've been to Scotland. And I went to the tunnels there in Scotland. Mm-hmm. And it's like, they're supposed to be the most haunted tunnels, and I'm like, really? There's not a lot of activity here, and it's like the spirits that were there is like, didn't know the names of these people. And I'm like, well, this is the name, and this is what he wants, and you better leave it. They called him Mr. Boots or something like that.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, that's not his name. And I said I couldn't remember. I said something Campbell or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like when I went to Winchester House.
Oh.
First time I went there, and it's my son and I went by there, and they're taking us on a tour and stuff. And they call the guy the gardener. No, they call him the gardener. I said, he does have a name. Well, nobody knows what his name is. I said, it's Albert Bean. I said, that's his name. I said, you can look it up. You'll find him. It's Albert Bean. And, Sarah Winchester did not like the fact that they were going to create a movie. She was a little pissy about the whole situation. She's like, this is not how it went. This is not what happened. I said, you got to look at it this way. You want your legacy to live on. Mm-hmm. You want this to, be kept up and everything. I said, this will help that. She says, I still don't like it. I'm like, I can't do anything about it. I said, as long as what you build here stays good, then why not? Don't worry about it. It's not worth it. Hollywood murders everything, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's true. It does.
I got a smile out of her for that one. So
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you. Let's see here. Another question. This is from Beth. She wants to know, can demons be converted back to light beings?
I get that question a lot. In demons, there's a little bit of light still left in each one of them. And if every now and then something will spark it. And it will, the demon itself will crush it. They don't want that again. But every now and then you get one that will let it go, will let it grow. And a couple of years ago, I came across a demon, an old demon that I had kicked out of a location. But I sent him home. I didn't kill him. So
yeah.
He came to me and he says, listen, I want your help. Basically, he wanted Ariel's help. Mm-hmm. And I said, what do you want? And he says, I said, you've got a lot of light in you now. And he says, yeah. He says, I let it grow. I said, do you want to go back to the light? Is that what you want? He said, no. He says, I want to be a liaison between the living and the dark realm. He says, I want to help humans. I want to be that go-between, like arbitrator, He says, can you ask Lucifer, it's asking Ariel to ask Lucifer if he would let him do that. Mm-hmm. So I set up a meeting with Lucifer, and then I talked to him about it. And he said, well, if the old demons are with it, then we'll do it. Mm-hmm. So a couple days later, I got a response from him saying, they agreed. I call the demon Herb. That's not his real name. Hey, he looks like a herb to me. Yeah, so it's like, he's been doing that ever since, trying to help out as much as he can.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it happens occasionally, not very often, but it does happen.
Oh, wow. Never would have thunk it. Never.
I know. Most people think the same thing.
Yeah.
But Ariel's seen a lot of strange things, and so it's like nothing new to her. Always seeing something weird.
Right. Another question from Beth, going back to the Zach Baggins thing. She wants to know how high of a level was that demon that spoke to Zach?
He was an old one, one of the oldest, the most powerful. And he was pissed off because of what Zach was doing with, he was, he's provoking, and some of the places where he goes to are off limits as far as the demons are concerned for humans. Mm-hmm. And so he's basically, he pissed him off, and he was sent there he says, I'm here you tell him if I wanted to, I could kill him in a heartbeat. I said, no problem. Mm-hmm. He said, warn him, stop provoking. Stop going into the places that are ours, or else. So I told him, I said, this is what he wants. This is what he's saying. I said, if I was you, I would really, really do what he says. I said, because you're just a human. I said, he'll kill you. I said, make no mistake about that. Oh, I don't know. It's like, yeah, it's on your own head. If you don't heed the warning, it's not my issue. It's not my problem. It's like when he left and he said, and he phoned Billy and said, I don't think that woman knows what she's doing. And I'm like thinking to myself, I know exactly what I'm doing, but you don't. But it's like Billy told him, she told me when you're off camera, you're going to see what she sees, hear what she hears. He says, you better get back here and let her take it away. So that's when he decided to come back. I'm like, because I'll leave. I'll take it away from you, but I'll leave. And the one thing about the show is that I didn't care for is like, the producer's telling me, well, don't take any demons out until we've done our investigation.
Oh, jeez.
Don't do anything. I'm like, really? Not. That old demon? That old demon will eat you for dinner.
Yeah.
So I said, okay. But I took him out before I left, obviously.
Yeah.
I said, I'll let you play with the lesser demon and the little minion dudes there that I leave behind. I'll come back for them later. No problem.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Wow. Well, they gotta get the ratings from it, so.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I'm not going there.
All right. So next question here is from Darren. He wants to know if you think the Vatican has demons.
Well, there's one attached to the Pope, so what more do I need to say?
Oh, wow.
I mean, what better way to control humans than to attach yourself to somebody that's in power that has great influence on people. I mean, old demons are strategists, and it's an old demon that's attached. And, it's like, what about, like I said, that's the best way to actually control. Just like if you're attached to a president.
Right.
Or, chief medical officer, chief, whatever, the head of the army, whatever,
Right.
It's the best way to control people, really. So think about it logically.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah. What better way?
Yep, that is true. Oh, we're getting a lot of feedback on that back of our. I was like,
sure
what is all this? Let's see here. Next question is, have any of your ideas with other demon seers created more issues in locations? I think that's what I'm not sure exactly, but I think that's what he was asking in a roundabout way, is if you've ever had any more.
There is no other demon seer like me. Because when you have an archangel inside of you, it's like that gives you the cutting edge.
Yeah.
But I've come across people that have said that they can do what I do, and they can't do what I do. But that's neither here nor there. If they're not against me, then they're for me. If they do the work, I don't care. I don't care. The problem is if you don't have something like the archangel inside of you, demonologists, deliverance ministers, exorcists, they have health issues. They always have health issues, and they don't live that long normally. And I don't have any health issues. And I asked Michael about it, and he says, Ariel protects the body. Said, you don't have to worry about that, because he showed me my death one day, and I'm like, okay, so I'm going to die at 93, and I'm going to go to sleep and not wake up. Okay, I'm good with that. So as long as you don't make me brain dead, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Because I can't kill demons if you make me brain dead.
Yeah, exactly.
No Alzheimer's, no dementia. Yeah, it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
They said, don't worry about that. You're not going to have any of that stuff. I'm like,
All right.
but yeah, the problem is like I said, if I find somebody that's doing the work, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
I know a gentleman that I removed a demon from
Mm-hmm.
in Colorado, and he actually has an archangel inside of him.
Mm-hmm.
It's a general of one of the armies, the warrior army. And once I removed the demon from him, then the archangel came forward. And he's like, it's like he did a complete 180. He was into alcohol and drugs and stuff. And he, like, from that day forward, he never had another, no substance at all.
Wow. Oh, we have another question here. This is from Beth. Let's see. She says, do exorcists actually work?
If the Vatican trains them. I mean, they go through a grueling training. And one day I was talking to Michael and I said, well, how come it takes an exorcist? It can take an exorcist for weeks, months, years to remove a demon. They do this constant battle with them. And I said, why does it take them so long? I said, it takes me a couple seconds. And he says, A, they don't have an archangel inside of them. He said, B, if you have any doubts, whether it be in yourself, what you're doing, your faith, then you're screwed. It's going to take you forever to remove the demon. He says, but if you have absolute faith in what you're doing and in yourself doing it and in God, then no problem. It might take you a couple of weeks, but you're able to do it. But these are people that have dedicated their life to God, and they're doing this. But you cannot have the fear. There cannot be any fear. To have fear, they know it. They're like a dog. They can sniff it out in a heartbeat. 20 miles away. And so if you have the fear, you'll never get it out. You never will. And that's why people ask me, well, aren't you afraid? No. Why should I be? I'm confident in what I can do because of what I have inside of me. And I have no fear about it. I don't worry about it, and I have no fear. If she wasn't inside of me, it'd be a whole other can of worms. But with her, it's like, the minute she comes out, demons want to be anywhere else but there. If they could get the hell out of Dodge, they'd do it. But they don't get to stand a chance. And hey, you play, you pay.
Yep. All right. Okay, so before we wrap things up here, why don't you go ahead and kind of give us information as to where our listeners can find you if they want to follow you. You have a YouTube channel, I know that, but any of your other pages where they can find information on your books or any upcoming events that you may have?
Yeah, they can go to mysticconnections.org, or demonseer.com. Either one, they kind of plug into each other, so you get all the information there. And I'm going to be doing a class. The Oregon Ghost Conference happens the 26th, 27th, and 28th of this month. And I'll be doing a virtual class on investigating negative entities. And it's going to be at 7 p.m. on the 27th. So if you go to the Oregon Ghost Conference website, then you can find the link there, and you can take the class if you'd like. But there's a lot of different classes that they offer.
Very nice.
And a lot of different people. So every year I try to do something to help out with the Ghost Conference. And because it's not in person this year, we're kind of like doing virtual classes.
Oh, very nice, very nice. So everybody, make sure you check that out.
And I'm on Facebook. You can find Demon Seer, or you can find June Lundgren. If you put in June Lundgren, it'll take you. It'll take you to my pages. Same thing with Amazon. You can find my pages. You can find my books there on Amazon.com. Just put in my name. I also have stories in different books for people have asked me to donate.
Oh, cool.
Stories for different ones, and Sammy Sands has done a couple of them, and so it's a couple of my stories are in there. But
Oh, very cool.
yeah, I have a lot. I have like four books in the works right now.
Oh,
I've always
wow.
got books.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
That's the problem. It's like, work 40 hours a week, depends on sometimes 60 hours, and try to do that. And I do intuitive readings on the weekends.
Oh my goodness. Busy.
Yeah.
Never any downtime.
No rest for the wicked, I figure I must be awful darn wicked.
Okay, so real quick here, I'm just going to give shout outs to everybody who was in chat tonight. We had Kim, we had myself, we had Matt. Eye of the Beholder, I know you weren't in there, but I do see you up there above. You've been listening in, so thank you, Darren, Nico, and Beth. So thank you, everybody who was in chat with us tonight. Thank you for everybody who was not in chat but listening. We appreciate each and every one of you. Next Thursday, we're going to do a recap of our investigation of the Cedar Falls Women's Club. So we're going to have some special guests. They were with us. Some of you know Cynthia and April, Leslie, and April's sister-in-law, Erin's going to be there. We've kind of popped her cherry into the paranormal realm, and so now she's gung-ho about doing it. So make sure you guys tune in for that. That's going to be an awesome show. And thank you again, June, for being on. We appreciate it. We'll make sure to get your information out there so that way if people that were listening, we can have it on our websites as well, so that way they can go there to find them as well. So thank you, everybody. Cool. And
thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. It was very interesting. Like, I didn't know anything about demon seers or anything until then. I just thought, demonologists and exorcists and everything, that's all I ever thought about. Yeah. So this was very informative for me, and I appreciate it. It was very awesome.
I've done my share of exorcisms, but
yeah,
that's a whole nother situation.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We will be back next Thursday.
Thank you for listening to REP Paranormal and Friends. Be sure to check out Kim and Allison on Facebook at REP Paranormal Busters.